Welcome to a special edition of TeeVo The Beard.
You can't see it. And Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas.
I'm TeeVo, and that's the Beard, and we're joined by a Christmas spirit.
Yes, the ghost of podcast presence, the one we call Mike.
Mike here.
How are you doing today?
Doing all right.
I caught a Fuller House reference.
Yeah.
What was that?
That was a reference to Mike, the character played by the now sadly late, great Alan Thicke, one of TV's greatest sitcom fathers.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's take a moment of silence for Alan Thicke.
All right. Sorry, he's not as important to me as like Ron Glass.
Well,
fair point.
Yeah.
But he did also create several notable television theme songs, including Wheel of Fortune and...
I think for me it was just the shock of like, whoa, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, what is... 2016 was like, I'm not done.
Yeah.
By the way.
It's not the 31st yet. We still got time.
Like when the trio of like Castro, Mrs. Brady, and Ron Glass, you know, everybody was like, oh my god, this is the worst. And, you know, 2016 was like...
Because it's only supposed to come in threes.
And, well, he's like, well, I waited a few weeks.
Yeah.
And it is not done being 2016 yet.
Yeah.
Just if you're like mildly famous, get a bunker somewhere and sit there with a personal surgical team until January 1st.
Nathan Fillion, we're looking at you. Find safety now.
Speaking of the holiday season.
Yes.
So this is our Christmas special, and we're not going to talk about shows that are on.
Right, because everything is in reruns.
We've already done that, and we're going to talk about Christmas movies, Christmas things, everything, what we do during Christmas.
Right.
Individually.
Okay. So we'll kind
As in, like, we've never done anything together as a trio.
Right.
But, you know, maybe we will. I don't know.
I think we should kind of do it as a round here where it's not one person saying everything at once and we kind of make it a roundtable discussion. And since your name's top billing there, because it sounds better when you say it, we'll start with TiVo here. Let's start with movies since we are known for entertainment on this podcast. Oh, and by the way, 20th episode. This is our 20th episode right here.
Really?
Our 20th official episode, 25 episodes total.
Really?
Yeah.
How about that?
So it's like a little anniversary here.
How about
Mazel tov for
that?
our Jewish listeners.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have any Hanukkah movies in my head.
I only have one, and I don't think they want to claim that one.
The Hebrew Hammer?
Oh,
now you got two.
I have two. They might want to claim the Hebrew Hammer.
Right.
But I don't watch it during Christmas.
Yeah. I'm gotta ask, what's the
8 Crazy Nights from Adam Sandler.
That is a thing.
That is a thing. I saw it in theaters, by the way.
Ooh, you're the one.
I was the one.
Yeah, you keep giving him money.
I do, yeah.
What's a Christmas movie that you enjoy?
Gotta say, first off, be all end all. If I'd only watch one a year, and it's a top choice. There's 3 that I definitely have to watch every year.
Yeah.
It's Home Alone, Bad Santa, and Jingle All the Way.
Oh, good.
But if I had to choose one, it's Home Alone.
And why is that?
You know, so
were you abandoned as a kid in a big mansion?
I was abandoned a lot.
So
not in a mansion.
You can relate to Kevin.
Not in a mansion, but you know, Home Alone came out the year after I was born.
Okay.
And it's one of the first movies I remember just watching in general, not during the Christmas season, just in general. It's one of the first movies I remember. Yeah. And it's funny. It made me laugh back then. It still makes me laugh today.
It holds up pretty well.
It holds up, and it's nostalgic for me. And that's the word. You know, we've done this several episodes ago. What's nostalgic? You know, it might not be good to the wider audience, but if it means something to you, go for it. And Home Alone hits that mark.
Yeah.
And it's one that can evolve as you watch it. Like, as a little kid, it's funny because it's, this kid dealing with these idiots. And then, you know, if you get older, you start figuring out movies, you realize how good Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci are at the brand of physical comedy and just bickering idiot comedy.
And, you know, that's why it made me laugh as a kid. Physical comedy. I didn't know what they were saying.
Yeah.
But, you know, the physical comedy worked.
Now and the absurdity of all of it, too.
Exactly. Yeah. Now I understand the dialogue, and it's even better.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you ever, like, lay out a bunch of micro machines and try and,
I never even had micro machines. So
I had whatever the Walmart equivalent was.
I've stepped on micro machines. You're not going to slip. You're just going to go, ow, there's a micro machine embedded in my foot.
It's like stepping on a Lego.
However, remember the part where he had Daniel Stern step on ornaments?
Yes. And a nail.
Yeah.
And a nail.
Yeah.
And that's seriously
a lot of foot trauma.
I know, right? And a lot of this was done, before, CGI and all that. So, yeah, they put themselves into these films.
And there's just so many good lines to it, other than, the physical comedy. I mean, what was the line? I'm blanking now.
Which line?
What was the line from the movie? The movie within the movie.
Merry Christmas, you filthy
animal.
Yeah.
But,
I remember being a kid quoting that line and having no clue what I was talking about.
And it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Because I've never even seen that movie that's playing within the...
That's because it's a fake movie that they filmed specifically for them.
The Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern parts, just love everything from, oh, you scared, Marv? You afraid? Come on.
Yeah.
Window? We're going out the window? Hey, guys, chicks, go back. Ah!
Physical comedy done over a podcast here. Works great.
But,
indeed.
That's one for me.
Yeah.
What's one for you?
Well, I can actually segue off that into Gremlins here, because Chris Columbus is
who
wrote Gremlins. And that's, like, one of my top 10 movies ever. Right there. And again, it has a lot to do with nostalgia.
Okay.
It came out in 1984, and I was 4. You guys weren't born yet.
I was not.
Nope.
And one of the things that was big about Gremlins was the marketing for it, like the merchandising.
Now, explain that, because as you pointed out, I was not alive, so
right.
I definitely don't know what the marketing was for Gremlins.
But you understand merchandising, of course. The toys that come out for it. Because,
back then they had some really neat ideas.
Yeah.
Now maybe it's not neat to us.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have a nostalgia.
Well, there's not so much creativity going into it nowadays.
Yeah.
But
so what did they do?
Well, the thing that I had was a life-size Gizmo, stuffed Gizmo toy that I would carry around so much that one of his arms actually lost all the fur on it.
Yeah.
And any picture after like 1984 has Gizmo somewhere in it. If I'm in the photo, my mom could only watch it after I had gone to bed because I would not let go of this thing. But it was one of those things that was marketed as a children's movie when obviously it was not a children's movie. It's a dark comedy / horror film set around Christmas.
You're all things you like.
I know, right? There's actually one on my list that's not a horror movie, believe it or not.
What?
I know. And but Gremlins is one of those that I like. Home Alone, I think, still stands the test of time. In fact, I've watched it twice this year already.
Okay.
Once earlier this month and once this morning.
There you go.
Because I was like, I need to watch something to get in the festive spirit this morning. What can I watch that I can just easily stream? And it's on Amazon Prime. A little free publicity for them there, a little free marketing. And yeah, I think, the fashion, of course, doesn't really hold up. Hairstyles, stuff like that, you can get past that. It was the 80s. But like the acting in it, the script, just from the animatronics to the puppets to the stop motion that's used to make the actual Gremlins, I think it's just a very well done movie. Not quite as quotable as Home Alone. That's got to be one of the sad parts there. And one of the only gripes I have about it, watching it as an adult instead of watching it as a kid, is you do start picking up on things like, okay, how does Gizmo live since he never eats in the movie?
Right.
How come snow does not affect the Gremlins? But water is what makes them multiply, and snow is just frozen water.
Well,
it's a solid.
Look, you're gonna nitpick that.
Well, yeah.
I can nitpick Home Alone. Look, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying Home Alone was perfect.
Well, because if Home Alone was realistic, the thieves would have given up like at the first thing.
They'd be dead.
Yeah.
And you hit in the face with a paint can at a high speed, you're kind of dead.
Yeah. And also, that family would have sued the police department.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah, because the police in that time did nothing.
Exactly. So I'm not saying, Home Alone is solid proof.
Yeah. But
I can nitpick it, don't worry.
That is the difference between watching something nostalgically and watching it, as an adult watching. It's like if I was trying to show somebody Gremlins for the first time, I would have to start it by saying, okay, remember, this is just a movie.
Yeah.
This was the 80s.
Yeah.
Now watch it.
Right.
It's not one I never want to see it remade. I never want to see CGI Gremlins. I think the way they did it was perfect.
You think you're like, just leave it alone?
What I would like to see, though, because the director, whose name I actually didn't write down because I can never remember, is Joe Dante, who got his start editing for Roger Corman, who's B movies, horror movies, and in the original version that never got actually recorded, but I'd love to see it. The dog dies, the mom gets decapitated, and the scientist who is studying the other Mogwai doesn't just get a hypodermic needle in the butt; he gets like a dozen in the face. So I'd like to see the R-rated Gremlins, but not a remake that does that. I want to see the original stuff.
Merry Christmas.
The original footage.
I know, right?
So, speaking of a horror-ass movie, I know Mike here.
Yeah, you have a certain movie that's not traditionally Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Well, all right. We'll go with the untraditional Christmas movie.
This is the best we've ever segued in all 20 episodes here.
Well, one movie that has kind of become a Christmas movie for me is 1982 John Carpenter's The Thing.
Why?
It has nothing to do with Christmas.
I know.
They're in Antarctica. There's snow.
Which is the polar opposite. Christmas. Literally polar opposite of Christmas.
Right. Indeed. Literally, it just became a thing. I am, like the Beard, I am a huge horror fan. And I happen to just turn into this weird kind of Christmas thing that my brother and I do.
Oh, really?
We'll watch that and enjoy it. But it's a movie I watch way too much as it is. I watch it like multiple times a year, but it's one of our Christmas films. We do, as a family, we'll watch several different Christmas movies, and that's the one my brother and I watch. And
but it's that feeling. And that's what this episode is about.
It's that feeling of paranoia I like, because as a child, you're always paranoid.
He's still going with nostalgia.
Santa
as a child,
Santa is always watching you, so you're always paranoid.
Hey, he's segueing. He segued right back in.
Just like they are in Outpost 31 as they're slowly being taken over by the alien menace.
So Santa Claus is the thing. Is what you're saying.
Yes, Santa Claus is the thing. He's got a head spider. It's terrifying.
I can fully believe you as a child believing Santa is the thing.
Right. John Carpenter's Santa Claus.
I would like to see that.
Yeah.
Parentheses, the thing too.
Santa as horror movie villain has been done before in the pretty brilliant and campy Santa Sleigh starring professional wrestler Bill Goldberg.
Yes.
Check that out.
I only wrote down four movies for this episode. I wanted to keep going. There's so many great horror ones that involve Santa Claus or Frosty or
oh god, Jack Frost. Shannon Elizabeth's first movie where she is murdered via carrot rape.
Yes.
Which is just unfortunate.
I read about that. I haven't seen it, but
Oh no, it's
exactly how it sounds.
It's exactly how it sounds.
It's a serial killer, and he is involved in a car crash while he's being transported to be executed. He falls into snow, and chemicals fall on him, and he is turned into a monster snowman.
I loved
that's a perfect description right there.
At a certain point with the really campy horror movies, that when you describe like death scenes, you just follow. It's exactly how it sounds.
Yeah.
You can craft like a Freddy death or Michael Myers death.
Yeah.
And they're
most eloquent.
They're eloquent, and there are many different ways you can imagine it.
Yeah.
Like you describe Shannon Elizabeth dies by rape of a carrot, and you're just like, it's exactly how it sounds.
There's no prettying that up. There's no polishing that off.
I guess
you haven't really lived until you've seen Santa Goldberg kill James Caan with turkey drumstick to the throat.
And again, it's exactly
how it sounds. Yes, imagine it. You've seen it. There.
So I guess I'll segue back to a choice with some rated R ones, since we're on the topic of rated R stuff for now. I did see.
I don't think any of mine are rated R.
Wow.
Well, that are on my list.
Oh yeah.
In my head, yeah.
I did. Like I said, I did see Office Christmas Party this weekend.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it. It was more comedy than Christmas.
Okay.
I'll probably still watch it during Christmas time.
Yeah.
But it's the kind of crazy one night akin to like the Hangover films, but set at an office and during Christmas.
Yeah.
I laughed. TJ Miller, you were right. It is a laugh a half a minute
Oh, wow.
They wanted to give you some time, so they didn't want to make it a laugh a minute. They made it a laugh a half a minute.
Yeah.
A minute and a half or something.
Yeah.
So
I'm not doing the math on that.
But nonetheless, I enjoyed it. But yeah, for those listening out there that was curious, just go see it.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be critically reviewed or pointing out or anything. Just see it if you want to see something funny. But it doesn't have that Christmas nostalgia to it.
Okay.
So I'll just give it.
You don't think it's one that 20 years ago you're going to be like, remember watching A Christmas Party?
You know, if I watch again, it's for T.J. Miller.
Okay.
You know, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But as a Christmas movie, like last year,
You mean TBS isn't going to be lining up to broadcast 24 hours of an Office Christmas party?
In 20 years, you never know.
In 20 years, you don't know. They're getting very fluid with what they say and show on TV.
TBS isn't the, family
But,
channel.
well, like last year I saw The Night Before, the Seth Rogen, Just Gordon-Levitt movie.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that. I will be watching it this year for Christmas. But that was a comedy, a rated R comedy, but it had a Christmas spirit to it.
Right.
But besides
and you've stolen the movie that I was going to segue into there.
But besides those, just wanted to point that out, since I did say I was going to talk about Office Christmas Party.
Yeah.
The other one I did want to spotlight is Bad Santa.
Okay.
There you go.
And it was funny. I was explaining it to a coworker the other day who'd never seen it.
I can't even imagine that sentence. I thought everybody's seen Bad Santa.
And they were not interested in watching this. And I was like, what?
Huh.
Don't confuse it with the bad whatever teacher, grandpa, whatever of now.
Yeah.
Like that. This was.
It's not a Johnny Knoxville movie. Explain to our listening audience like a 30-second little plot synopsis.
Billy Bob Thornton plays a criminal who has a little midget. Sorry.
Dwarf, whatever,
little person,
partner
crime, and every Christmas they go rob malls, and their big thing is they dress up as Santa and the Elf to case the joint the whole holiday season.
Yeah.
And on Christmas Eve, they rob the place and then move to a different city, do it all over again. And it's very lewd.
Yeah.
Very profane. But there is such a Christmas spirit to it. For anybody that has seen it, that can and you can vouch for me with this. There is a Christmas message to it.
Yeah.
And that's all I want for my holiday.
Stars the late, great John Ritter as an antagonist, kind of.
No.
Not mall manager type.
He wasn't the antagonist. Bernie Mac, the late Bernie Mac, was more the antagonist. Which is sad.
Why is everybody dead?
Well, ever since Bernie Mac had passed away, because John Ritter had passed before this film came out.
Right. That always makes things confusing, too.
And when Bernie Mac passed, I watched it the year he passed, and I was like, and most of Ritter's scenes are either with Thornton or Bernie Mac. Right. And I was watching it, and I was like, wow, this is bumming me out. Because these great scenes with John Ritter and Bernie Mac, and I gotta think they had passed away. Yeah. But nonetheless, doesn't take away from the film. It actually makes me want to celebrate them more.
Yeah. I can kind of segue from that with Billy Bob Thornton. He was in Love Actually.
That's right.
Which is my non-horror movie on the list, which now that I think about it, may have been rated R because it does have quote-unquote sexual situations and brief nudity in it.
You mean with Martin Freeman?
Yes, I mean when the Hobbit is doing some body work there, some body doubling, and it has in it the late great Alan Rickman. So we can keep on that trend there. I enjoyed Love Actually from the very first time I saw it. I know it's your typical rom-com Christmas movie. Stars Hugh Grant, falls in love with it. He's the Prime Minister of England. Falls in love with his assistant there. Billy Bob Thornton's the president. It's all very tropey. It's all very campy. Everybody's lives mingle together, but it's become a Christmas tradition for me and the wife on Christmas Eve to watch it.
And that's great.
Yeah, and it's also one that makes me laugh every time I watch it at certain parts.
Well, it's one of those ensemble movies like that actually it's one of the only ones I can think of that works.
Yeah,
because New Year's Eve and Valentine's Day,
the things that follow it. Yeah,
just none of those have really worked.
Yeah,
as far as I know, I've not seen any of them.
We're sorry, Gary Marshall. We're not disrupting your memory.
Right,
but
If it helps, I watch your Odd Couple remake on CBS. If that helps at all.
Yeah. For the for my little notes here, I have like the title of the movie, written, directed by, which in that case was Richard Curtis. Basically, watch any British comedy movie; it was done by Richard Curtis. And for starring, I put everybody.
Well, Richard Curtis makes some really good movies.
He does. Yeah.
I don't know if anybody saw non-Christmas movie, putting that out there, but just got a comment. Has anybody seen About Time?
No.
The Domhnall Gleeson
Not yet.
Rachel McAdams. Oh my God. You guys got to see this.
Okay.
I don't think it takes place at any point during Christmas, but see that one. It's so sweet.
Okay.
I'll say that.
Okay.
Maybe another time.
Yeah. So another time for another time.
We're on the topic of Richard Curtis.
Yeah. No, I mean, just Google Richard Curtis and you can throw a dart and pick any of his movies. Really, I can't think of a terrible one. I mean, you can definitely rank them, but
he's he's one of those directors that just while his movies aren't going to be the ones, or they do, they stand like full test of time. But when you watch them, you just have a good time.
Yeah,
like an American equivalent is Nancy Meyers to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, definitely.
Like you don't like go, oh my God, like you have to see this Nancy Meyers movie. But when you see a Nancy Meyers movie,
yeah, and it's not going to break the box office like The Avengers or anything. But
it's not going to change status quo.
I have yet to see one of her movies I didn't enjoy. Yeah. Like it was a fun movie. It's a fine movie going experience. It's when you think of movies as like a way to escape for a couple of hours and just enjoy yourself.
Yeah, those two people just know how to just make it simple. Well, sometimes they're not simple, but they're nice stories.
Right, and I like that. I'm not sure about hers, but I know at least with Richard Curtis, like everything is a standalone movie. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't have to watch his whole collection to understand Love Actually or Notting Hill or something like that. You can just pick and choose, and I like that. So, do you have a rated R?
Let's, if we're going to talk rated R and comedy, we'll keep in the vein of that. Yeah. Our Christmas Day tradition at my house, my brother and I, we do a community service thing every Christmas morning. We come home, we take a nap, and then we wake up and get with our parents, and we watch Christmas Vacation.
Oh, classic right there.
You want to talk about that is, I think, in some ways that could be considered the definitive Christmas comedy.
I would agree.
What I like about it is it looks at, it's Clark slowly going insane, trying to have this beautiful Christmas. Mm-hmm. But having watched it now, probably like 15 times or something like that, you notice that it pokes fun at and also celebrates kind of the mundaneness of the holiday, like passing out in a chair while watching It's a Wonderful Life on a loop or Christmas Story or, the grandparents talking about their various ailments and illnesses and the thing on my back that they had to poke a hole in and all that kind of nastiness.
It's a realistic type movie.
It's very realistic, but it's also horrifyingly brilliantly funny. It's just the jokes come mile a minute. It's everything. It's the yuppie neighbors, which just watching their life kind of disintegrate due to Clark being a horrifying neighbor is kind of delightful. You have
Clark really is a terrible guy.
Clark is awful.
He's awful.
It's funny. It's interesting. I read an interview with him once, Chevy Chase, where they said.
I was going to say you read an interview with Clark.
That's amazing.
Yes. Well, they were talking about the various Griswold movies. I think it was in conjunction with the Vacation that came out last year with Ed Helms,
which was all right.
It was okay.
He mentioned that in all four of the movies, the kids are played by different actors, if you notice. And he said that was intentional because Clark is such a terrible dad, he doesn't realize what his kids look like.
Nice.
So, but, it has Randy Quaid before he went insane.
Yeah.
Which is...
Long before. I don't know, maybe he was, and he was good at hiding it.
He was using it for his acting.
That's right, Randy Quaid. We're singling you out.
Oh, God.
We've read your Twitter.
Cousin
now
Eddie.
You are a terrible person.
Cousin Eddie is just this fascinating idea of a human being.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Because we do try to stay family friendly, I won't mention the best scene with him in it.
You mean,
yeah.
And
just go watch the movie.
There's animal humor, like a cat is electric.
The squirrel in the tree.
Oh yeah, the squirrel in the tree. The turkey just completely deflating as he cuts it open. The various relatives, like the late great Doris Roberts.
Wow, why are people dead?
I don't know.
I know.
And now I'm blanking on the actor. I'm now blanking on the actor's name, but he's that man who basically looked like he was 90 years old for 30 years, who's always got the cigar, and he's got that voice.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. You know, with the hairpiece.
He's probably still alive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. And, he gets the jam of the month, and he just, he loses it. And just finally watching him break down, it's so fun and so hilarious and so ridiculous. I have never not found it funny.
Yeah.
And I watch it at least once a year. It's pretty great.
Yeah,
and
I mean, it's like a legal requirement, I think.
And that's the beauty of it. When you can watch it. One time I showed Home Alone at a Christmas party.
Yeah.
And I know most people have seen it, but I was quoting along with it, and it wasn't old to me at all. Even though I knew every line and every beat. It was still wonderful.
Well, that's because ones like, Home Alone, Gremlins, Vacation, those are ones where, as long as you're not looking at the hair and the fashion, everything else in it is universal.
And sometimes who cares?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how universal it is you don't think about, like, Louise Dreyfus, her hair.
Yeah.
Is very, like, that big 90s type hair. Shoulder pads and everything.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
Sometimes you have Sinbad in a film, and it totally works.
And thank you, Christmas Spirit.
I was about to say, that seemed like a forced segue there.
If it was fantastic. Because we are going to segue into my next choice. Mm-hmm. I love watching Jingle All the Way.
Oh my God, yes.
And sometimes there's no words to describe it for me.
Yeah.
And that one, by God, and I have quoted it in front of you.
You have.
And I know that movie. Nobody should test me whether I know that movie or not.
Would you be willing to leave one of your two sons at home in order to go watch that movie? You may not have seen that episode.
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did.
I was about to say, am I quoting?
It took me a second. I was like, okay.
I don't know if you watched Fresh Off the Boat, Mike.
By the way,
I have not.
By the way, the Christmas episode of Fresh Off the Boat, brilliant how they combine 3 movies.
Yeah.
3 Christmas movies in kind of one coherent story.
Yeah.
So, bravo, guys.
Yes, they've been doing some good stuff.
But Jingle All the Way, for those who haven't watched it, is Arnold Schwarzenegger, who...
At one of his best.
They've given up trying to explain how someone with a thick Austrian accent is American.
Yeah.
His name's Howard.
Howard Langston.
Yeah.
Oh God! And his son is
Jake Lloyd, who famously or infamously, depending on how you see it, I like to say famously because it's not his fault.
Yeah.
He played young Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah,
but he plays his son, and he wants the latest Turbo Man action figure.
Because he can't get it, he turns to the dark side and becomes Vader.
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then Arnold, because he is a terrible father, has forgotten to buy presents, and so he's going on Christmas Eve, and he wakes up and he goes and he meets Sinbad, who is a local postal carrier, who by the end of the movie is probably going to get carted away to Gitmo.
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, leave the man alone. There's a dad trying to get to it. Always have people going around here all insane.
Sinbad is just underrated, especially by, newer generations.
Fire there.
If you're under 18, go find something with Sinbad in it and watch it.
Fire there. Howard Langston.
And Howard is also having to deal with, while being a terrible father, he's also having to deal with his horrible neighbor, Phil Hartman.
Yeah. The late, great Phil Hartman.
Look, in fairness of 2016, Phil Hartman sadly has been dead.
Yeah, been like a decade or something.
I think he passed only a couple years after
98. I want to
98,
say.
and Jingle All the Way is 96.
Yeah.
So that, in fairness of this year,
right? Yeah,
we'll give you a pass. 2016. That one's
not your fault.
Yeah. I mean, he plays this delightful scumbag. He's on the phone taunting Arnold, where it's like, your wife, she's in the shower. Oh, these cookies are delicious.
Oh wait. He's like, these cookies. I gotta get the recipe from this. Put that cookie down now. Howard, is there something bothering you? Because there's time of the year, there's a lot of stress-related breakdowns. Oh, there's like
TeeVo will be doing the whole movie for us here.
God.
The audiobook version of Jingle All the Way.
It's one of those where it's like,
I think she's in the shower, Hal. You want me to go check? No. No, that's fine. When she gets out.
Yeah, because to imagine Arnold back then, all you have to do is think of somebody doing an Arnold impersonation. because that is like top Schwarzenegger right there.
And like you said earlier, that's how you know you carved some form of success, that you can, like Sean Connery.
Yeah.
It does, and in the American side, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
When you can just go be you,
right,
in any form of character, and if the audience accepts that, hey.
And it all started with Sean Connery being an immortal Spaniard in Highlander,
and then Egyptian pretending to be a Spaniard,
right? Yeah,
while never making any attempt at the accent,
and then a Russian submarine captain,
right? Yeah. So
at least when Arnold did play a Russian once, he tried.
Yeah.
It still came off as
Captain
Arnold.
Remus, the Russian. Why are you rolling your R's like a Scotsman? Don't worry about it.
But yeah,
I'm from Glasgow, Russia.
Yeah, I remember getting the VHS of Jingle All the Way, and during Christmas, just playing it. It was over. Rewind.
Yep.
And you know what? Great day.
Yeah.
Great week. Great month.
Yeah, it's not as universal as some of the ones we've been talking about.
Oh no.
But the comedy holds up.
I put Home Alone on a very high pedestal.
Yeah.
Yes.
I understand that Jingle All the Way is not the best movie, but it works for me.
But it's a hilarious 90 minutes.
Yep.
Speaking of family comedies, though, we've got to take a quick second because it is marathon to Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Gotta briefly touch on that because that is
definitely.
That is your quintessential family Christmas film.
Which I don't know about you two, but it's not on my list.
It's not on my list either, but it's on my nostalgia list because that is my dad's movie. He will watch it any time of the year. I have bought it for him on VHS, on DVD, on Blu-ray,
and whatever
comes out when it comes out on 4K, I will buy it for him on that.
It's on my list by default because every Christmas Day, I will see it in bits and pieces. I will see the entire movie, but in what order and
I'm not sure the last time I've seen it in order.
Yeah,
there was like a 2-year span, 2-3 years, because TBS owns the right to play that movie all day.
Yep.
There was a 2 or 3 year span where FX was showing Jingle All the Way.
Oh wow!
24-hour marathon, and that was
just for TiVo.
That was better than me.
There, yeah.
But yeah, there are a lot of. I think Home Alone for me is the classic one that's on my list because It's Wonderful Life, Christmas Story. They have that spirit to it,
right?
That Christmas spirit to it that we all watch these movies for.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something I don't have to watch.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes with age, though, because even for me, Home Alone is closer to my age bracket than A Christmas Story, which is definitely set in my dad's time period.
Yeah. It's that idea of the family coming together, which I have to really quickly now segue back to Christmas Vacation because that happy ending where the lights finally work and then Santa gets fired off and the grandma starts singing the national anthem.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, don't think that Christmas Vacation and A Christmas Story are in the same family-friendly category, though. If you're somehow not familiar with these films, A Christmas Story is definitely more.
A Christmas Story with the world's worst Santa just kicking children down a slide.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know about y'all, but I never went to a Santa that had a slide.
I wish I did.
That would have been fun.
I would have been kicked down the slide. No problem.
Throwing crying children down the slide or kicking them.
That's the way to do it there if you're a Santa there. Just get rid of them easier. Just have the parents stand at the bottom, shoot them down. If we're going to go for nostalgia, I mean, like ultimate... Like we've been doing.
We haven't, because we haven't been doing that for how many minutes?
But the my family-friendly nostalgia one would have to be the classic Grinch That Stole Christmas.
Oh, I love
the original 1966 cartoon version there with Boris Karloff, who did the voice of the Grinch, the voice of Cindy Lou Who. Not many people, and did not sing it though.
No, that was Thurl
Ravenscroft,
which sounds like a horror movie villain,
right,
or a Bond villain, but is also actually, fun fact, the original voice of Tony the Tiger.
Really?
Yes.
How about that?
Yeah, I wasn't. The way some of your segues have gone, I wasn't sure if you were going to get that one.
I'm with you on that one. That's one of my favorite Christmas songs.
And thankfully, which you hear like maybe 10 seconds of it in Home Alone.
Yes.
So I get double dose.
It's great because Dr. Seuss wrote the lyrics and just his mastery of language and just the weirdness of language is so good.
Well, and then the animated movie, which actually was a TV special when it first came out.
Yes.
Because that was before they thought, oh, well, we can sell this on, a recorded system and have people buy multiple copies. But the animation was done by Chuck Jones.
Yes.
Known, of course, for, Looney Tunes and stuff like that. Also known for playing Mr. Jones, who was in the bar in the Gremlins movie.
Nice.
So we can just connect all of these back around here. But little fact about my family. So my daughter's 3 years old, and she loves Santa Claus and all that, but me and my wife were telling her, you're not going to get a lot of gifts if you keep acting up, if you keep being bad, which, of course, she's at that age.
The standard.
Right, but it wasn't working for her. She wasn't going doesn't really have the concept of less or more type thing. So some of my family, if you go back far enough, is from Germany. And I think
there's a film you can show her to explain why.
Well, I didn't show her the film, but I did tell her about Krampus. And I didn't even tell her the whole story of Krampus. I just said, if you're bad during the month of December, I didn't just give her December 6th, which is Krampus night. But I said, if you're bad during December, the Krampus will come and hit you with a stick. And I have a Krampus bell. It's just that old-timey looking bell that she is terrified of now. Because for some reason, she has put it together that not only will Krampus come and hit you with a stick, he will kidnap you. She put that together herself, which is part of the legend.
Indeed.
But what I didn't put together is that Krampus looks a lot like the Grinch if you take off his horns. So at her preschool, they watched How a Grinch Stole Christmas.
Uh-oh.
She is terrified of the Grinch now. And I'm like, no, they're not connected. Grinch.
And he's nice.
Well, she didn't get to see the end of Grinch yet. So she doesn't know that his heart grows. And
three slices? Oh, no.
Yeah, so I was like, because she was like, I don't like Grinch. And I was like, but you like the music from it, right? Like the song and like the song that the Who sing? What song? I was like, oh
boy, I wouldn't show her the Jim Carrey version then.
No. Because I even asked her, I said, did you watch the cartoon version or the real version? Because the real version is kind of terrifying. And she goes, cartoon? I'm like, yeah, I've got to tie her down and do like, a Clockwork Orange thing where I tape her eyes up and make her watch the cartoon.
There you go.
Now, when she gets older, I will explain to her how Krampus is not a bad guy in the legend. He's actually Santa's slave. I will.
Well, by the time she's older, she'll realize that none of this really means anything.
Right.
So.
Santa's real. Krampus is real. If you're kids listening out there, so be good.
Speaking of the Grinch, though, I have to relate a story that happened to me the other day that has to do with music from a Christmas classic. Mm-hmm. I was at our local Inn Market getting a beverage.
Yes. I got a coffee today.
They were playing Christmas music, over the radio, as they do. And it starts playing, Linus and Lucy, the traditional Peanuts, song.
Yeah.
And literally both of the women working behind the desk, one of the dude who's just kind of chilling at the literally like 6 people in the store just started dancing.
Now, did they do like the Snoopy
Yes,
type
like they
dancing?
were doing like the Snoopy type dancing and just dancing along to
Nice.
it because the power of Christmas and Universal and such.
Let's take a second to talk about that. We clearly got movies.
Oh yeah.
Galore.
I mean, we could do a 24-hour podcast just about Christmas movies.
And most of and our picks will be separate, like different movies.
Yeah, which has actually surprised me with this. I mean, we've all seen the same movies basically, but
the list, is all different.
Yeah.
So let's take a moment to talk about the music.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it could be traditional or non-traditional Christmas songs. Like we clearly got movies. So what song gets you in the holiday spirit? It could be cheesy or whatnot.
Well, one of them, actually, that's for me, one of my favorite ones is There's No Place Like Home for the Holidays.
Okay.
Which actually connects back to horror, because even though I'm not a fan of Apple, their newest commercial has Frankenstein's monster going down, doing the little music box recording, then connecting the lights to his bolts there, and he starts doing starts singing No Place Like Home for the Holidays, and I'm like, I actually got a little teary-eyed watching. I'm like,
that is
Apple, I hate you, but that is a good ad.
It is an absurdly teary-eyed ad.
It's an awesome ad, though, because if you actually, The first time I watched it, I was just like, that's a good ad. And once you watch it, thanks to Hulu, you get to see it a million times. Yeah. But there are people in the background when he starts singing, yelling, "Monster, go home," or "Go away," stuff like that. I'm like, those people are horrible. But Apple thought to put that in there. I'm like, that is just good marketing right there. But yeah, I like that sort of traditional, but not like Angels We Have Heard on High type. Traditional as much.
I guess I'll do a non-traditional. Paul McCartney.
Oh yeah. Yes, one of the worst. God. One of the top 10 worst Christmas songs of all time. But I love it.
But I don't. I categorize it in one of those.
Oh yeah, no, I know the worst Christmas song of all time.
I categorize it in just one of those. It's only good in quotation.
Right.
It's only good at a certain time of the year.
Yeah, no, if it comes on the radio, I will totally listen to it.
But if it comes on the radio in, July, I'll be like, why is...
Did I shoot my radio? Exactly. Something's broken there.
But on the way here, I actually did hear it. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Hey, who cares?
Yeah, my favorite bad Christmas song, I'm not going to take yours, because that one's actually my least favorite. But my favorite bad Christmas song is Christmas Canon. It's basically Pachelbel's Canon in D major with creepy kids singing in it there.
Terrifying children's choirs. Always.
But it's one of those where it's just like, again, if it's playing anytime besides Christmas, hate it. And it's actually the version of Canon that my wife walked down the aisle to when we got married. We got married in December, so it's okay. We didn't have the creepy Christmas kids singing. But that was
I'm trying to remember. But but it's been a while.
Because she wanted to walk down the aisle. I wanted her to walk down the aisle to Dire Straits' Sultans of Swing. Because that's her dad's favorite song. But she wouldn't do it. So she wanted to walk down to Canon. And I was like, well, let's do Christmas Canon. So it's fitting with the, December theme there. And Mike, I hope you're picking the one that's in my head, because that one I will change the station for.
We'll talk about it, but in terms of ones I enjoy, in our house we have Nat King Cole, the Nat King Cole CD where he's singing all your Christmas classics going, which is always lovely, just because he was such a gifted singer.
Because if you just look at a dictionary under Christmas songs, Nat King Cole is right there.
Indeed. That's how important he's got that voice that's smooth as butter. It's delightful.
Yeah.
Another Christmas song I enjoy that I will rock out to in my car is Feliz Navidad.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it's just the
it's the only Spanish some people know.
I don't know why. I dig it. I dig the horns. The
mariachi got a good beat
feel
to
it.
It does. Yeah.
It's one of those if you just take out the context and just hear the beat, it's still a good song.
Yeah.
I think so.
But I mean, I've heard some weird ones. Yesterday for the first time I heard a Frank Sinatra swing time style Jingle Bells, where he had a chorus that was saying Jingle bells.
That's one of my favorite versions of Jingle Bells.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But in terms of worst Christmas songs, we have to talk about this because it's painful and it's weird, and it even got its own terrible Lifetime movie, The Christmas Shoes.
Yes.
Have you heard this song, TeeVo?
Oh.
So here's the premise of the song. It's a man singing, and he's buying the last presents, and he's feeling down, and he's not feeling the Christmas spirit. Yeah. And there's a little kid in front of him
that wants Southeast Georgia
that wants to buy some shoes for his mother, and he's short on the money, and he turns to the guy and he's like, to the singer of the song, and he's basically, can you help me? Can you spare a dime? I want to buy these shoes for my mom because she's been sick for a while in case she meets Jesus tonight.
Because Mama's dying, and she needs these shoes. She needs to look on fleek for Jesus.
And so he gives him the money, and that restores his faith in the Christmas spirit.
Yes.
Which, you need to hear the song, but then you also need to hear Patton Oswalt breaking down the song.
Yes. Yeah,
because
definitely.
It's hilarious. But it also got made into a Christmas movie starring Rob Lowe.
Like an hour and a half long movie out of this 3-minute song.
Mm-hmm. Which the movie has its own problems. Like the kid he wants to get the shoes, but rather than, tell his dad why he wants an advance on his allowance or why he is running around town picking up cans and recycling, rather than saying, it's to buy my mom these shoes that look like shoes she had when she was a dancer, he doesn't tell them.
Right.
And then,
because it would have been a quicker movie if that would have been the case.
It's the whole premise is this weird, like, it goes, the lyrics are, I've got to buy these shoes for my mama, please. They're just her size in case mama meets Jesus tonight.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. But people love it. And I'm going to kind of segue to another question for you guys here. Because people love it because it's a sentimental, sappy song that brings tears to their eyes. Because, like the song Jesus Take the Wheel, they're not actually listening to the lyrics. Because Jesus Take the Wheel, that's a horrible mom driving her kid in the snow. Yeah, it's like, I give up, I just take the wheel. Your kid's in the car with you, don't do that. Keep to the steering wheel, drive. But on a serious note, kind of segueing from that, what is a Christmas song that does bring tears to your eyes for nostalgic reasons or something like that? Mine is I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Okay.
So that is a song that I have, anytime I hear, will definitely, it puts me in that, not necessarily Christmas spirit, but like that sad Christmas spirit there. So what's a tearjerker, a heart-wrencher for you there?
I'm going to go classic.
Yeah.
Like a good rendition of Silent Night.
Okay. Yeah.
Gets me in a similar state.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's still a good song. I like it.
Yeah.
But, a really good like choir or a good singer doing it, man. Yep, that'll not make me depressed, but just,
right, yeah.
It just gets me in an emotional state.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on Silent Night. Really, I would say I'm kind of on the same wavelength. It's where I went to my undergrad. They do a Christmas show every year, and it always ends with the singing of Silent Night. And while the director of the theater department tells the story of how the song was basically written, and it was just this guy, he wrote a simple song that could be played with a guitar. It was literally just kind of a simple thing to talk about Christmas. And so it's got kind of a special spot for that. This is an interesting one, just that gets me in the Christmas spirit, just because you don't hear people say it that much. I really like We Three Kings for whatever reason.
That was the first song I ever learned to play on piano.
Really?
Yeah.
That was the first theatrical acting role I ever had. In second grade, I played Melchior in this weird little, it wasn't a play or anything. It was literally like reading the whole chapter on the birth of Jesus, and every little kid had a line.
Yeah. Oh, I've been in one of those. Sadly, I didn't get to play Third Lobster, but...
So that one kind of is, but yeah, in Silent Night, just if you want to get kind of the solemnness of Christmas and just kind of that thing, then I would say those two.
Okay. So what about Christmas food? Do we have time for that?
Good.
Yeah,
good
okay.
Time.
Because we don't want to leave on a low note there. We've been talking about deaths and all that at the beginning. Now we're talking about sad songs.
Let's see. Food's a little different in my household.
Okay.
I grew up in a Vietnamese household.
Right.
So we don't do Christmas like, most people in this country do.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, my parents did the Christmas charade for a bit just to kind of, make me feel...
Americanized,
yeah. But that quickly went away. So most of the Christmas things, it's really on my own accord. As far as food, there's not anything particular. I just like going home and my mom just makes my mom's food. It's one of the things you definitely appreciate more when you don't live with your mother anymore. So
my mom doesn't cook, but I know what you mean there.
But just it's that feeling of being just home.
Yeah.
For me. And like on Thanksgiving, my mom just opted not to make any Thanksgiving food. I said, good, I don't want any of that from you.
Right.
I was going to Mike's house for that. Mike was making that food for me.
Yeah,
so she made just Vietnamese food, and we had a good time.
Okay.
And that was great. And I don't know what she's making this year because my niece will not be spending Christmas with us this year. She's going to Michigan to see the other side of the family, which is good, alternating. So it'll really just be me at the house. So I don't know what she's going to make, but whatever she does is fine.
Yeah. Or you could do like in the Christmas Story and go out to a Chinese restaurant and hear fa ra 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 ra.
See, that loses its novelty when you are Asian,
right?
You can have the bird have its head cut off right in front of you.
Yeah. That loses its novelty when you are Asian. Now, don't get me wrong, I have done that,
right?
But it's not. There used to.
It wouldn't be as absurd.
It's not as weird to me,
right?
Like when I still was living at home. I went to a movie theater. I'd go see a movie, which I still do. So I still go see a movie on Christmas. And there used to be this Japanese restaurant. I go eat sushi there. Mm-hmm. I did this for like 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
And that was the only time I ever went to this restaurant. And towards like the third year, I made it a conscious effort to never go there unless it was Christmas. And by the third year, they knew me as the Christmas guy.
Nice. But it wasn't. But when you started, it wasn't intentional.
It wasn't intentional. It just around that area, it was literally the only thing open, and I was like, I could go for some sushi.
Nice.
And the second year, I was like, oh, might as well. And by the third, I was like, ooh, I've noticed I've only come here. I'm going to only come here at Christmas.
Nice.
And sadly, because I haven't spent a whole day like I'm planning to this year at home for Christmas. I was like, I wonder if they're still open. No, they're gone.
It's because you only went there at Christmas. You couldn't keep them open.
Clearly. And it's been...
It'll become the first seasonal sushi place.
Please, Christmas guy, can you come on a different holiday?
Come on Valentine's
We need the business. Arbor Day. No one comes in. Help us.
Day.
And these are all messages that were sent like 6 years ago, which is like the last time I was able to do that.
Yeah.
What about you?
Mine, with my family, it's always desserts. Pies, things like that. But it's not the typical like apple pie, pumpkin pie sort of thing. It's like lemon meringue pie and pound cake. My grandmother makes a pound cake that from scratch. I think she even makes the flour from scratch. It's like the reason that it's called a pound cake is because there's literally like a pound of everything in it. It's like a pound of butter, a pound of flour, a pound of this. And it's
she went to the Paula Deen cooking school.
Or Paula Deen went to my grandmother's cooking school.
Oh,
well, my grandmother is like, 11 billion years old. I'm not sure how old she is, to be honest. She's never going to die, though. So we're keeping that out. It's my grandmother. She ain't going down.
So. What about you? What about you, Mike? Do you make anything? Your parents make anything?
We do, like a turkey or a ham usually. This year it's going to be a little different, just because my mother's been having some health issues, so I'm probably going to be cooking something. I don't know what. Mm-hmm. Or because of that, it might be easier to keep it simple, and we literally might just do, hey, everyone, let's get a pizza and watch Christmas movies so we can all just relax.
And that's the beauty of Christmas. Mm-hmm. With a holiday feast like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's very pertinent to people to have a specific
turkey,
cranberries,
mashed potatoes, that sort of thing.
And all that. Mm-hmm. But with Christmas, it's more fluid, and you can just... it's about being in that spirit. And
most people don't go the Victorian, goose and all that stuff anymore.
And if you do, that's great. Yeah. But I think Christmas...
I'd want to throw down, because we like desserts, like a chocolate pie or a chocolate cheesecake. Those are some of our favorites.
What?
But
where was that during Thanksgiving?
Sorry.
You got to go for Christmas, obviously.
No,
a pit stop at your house.
Mm-hmm. I prefer kind of the easy food. Like, I'd rather... Then you're not... Because it's nice to throw together like a big quote-unquote Christmas feast, but that takes a lot of time, and it takes, it can take you away from everybody or whatever's going on,
Like the other Hulu commercial Hulu shows 20,000 times when you're watching a show.
I'm not picky. I'm literally, I'd literally be fine with, hey, I'm going to take these two oven pizzas, throw them in, and while they cook for 15 minutes, we can open presents and hang out, and then we'll have pizza, and we'll put on a Christmas Vacation and laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, for growing up for me, the reason that desserts were, I guess, stick out in my head is the fact that the stuff that we had to eat was stuff like, you take a tortilla, which I didn't know were called tortillas back growing up, and you put like a piece of ham and a piece of cheese, you roll that up, stick a toothpick in it.
That sounds awesome!
And it is.
Just a nice little sandwich roll-up.
Finger food, and that was the main course, and then dessert. So it was something we kind of had like Christmas grazing instead of Christmas feasting.
That's one of my favorite parts of post-holiday, be it Thanksgiving or Christmas. It's just,
leftovers.
we've got 6 containers of turkey. Well, I'm just going to make a turkey sandwich while I sit and mindlessly watch this football bowl game. Or I'm going to make a turkey sandwich. Or, we've got turkey soup for some reason.
You got turkey cold. Everything.
For like the one day it's cold here, you get your turkey soup.
Yeah.
Other lastly things to close it up. I think I pretty much ran through everything I do during the holiday season.
I mean, my Christmases are getting more interesting with a growing child. It is a lot different being a parent than it is
I'm sure.
being either a kid or single. This is with her being 3 and with her having an opinion about what she wants for Christmas now. This has become actually the most fun. I'm not going to give away anything she's getting yet, but she's making out like a bandit this year. And I told my wife, I said, so what are we going to buy each other for Christmas? Like a $20 minimum type thing? I want a Hula Harley Quinn for my car, and she hasn't told me what she wants yet. So what about you guys?
I mean, I have a 2-year-old niece, but unlike you, I'm not...
You don't have to go all out.
I'm not the main person in the household for her, so it'll be interesting as the years go, but I can certainly imagine it'd be a lot more interesting for you.
Yeah, it definitely becomes more fun when you're not buying, like, infant toys, when you're buying toys that you can kind of share, some of them. Yeah.
I don't have any kids or biological nieces, but I have very dear friends who are basically like my family who have children, so I have kind of adopted little nieces and nephews. One of them... He really likes colorful stacking things.
Yeah.
So I'll probably hook him up with something like that. And then my little niece, for whatever reason, for the first 2 years of her life, most of my presents for her have been Curious George centered. Okay. And she really seems to like that. But she's also a Willie Nelson fan, apparently. Nice. Like, I got sent a video by her mother the other day of her singing, literally singing the lyrics to On the Road Again. And, she's about to she turns 2 on Christmas Eve. So she's still learning how to talk, but, she's getting most of the words. That's pretty good,
I send my niece, like, every fandom there is that I can think of and just see which one attaches.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, one thing that my wife and daughter are doing that my wife grew up with her mom doing is making cookies for Christmas. Okay. So there's a new, Think Geek opened up in our local mall here. So we got Star Wars Christmas cookie cutters, but she doesn't want to just make those. My same daughter, who is scared of the Grinch and scared of Krampus, wants to make Freddy and Jason cookies also.
That makes you happy.
Yeah, so I'm like, pick what you're scared of, though. It's like, don't know what to show her, what not to show her.
For us, my brother's birthday is 3 days before Christmas, so he will be coming into town. He and I will probably do something. We usually will go to a movie or something like that, or movie and dinner.
It's got to be so tough.
It's that whole arguing for I should get 2 presents,
right?
Sort of thing. He has tried to do, but I mean, I'll hook him up. We'll go to like dinner and a movie or something, and I think he's bringing his new girlfriend, so we'll entertain her and hopefully not terrify her off. I don't know.
That's the test. Holidays are the test for.
I'll be your date, so you won't be.
We often, and then as a family, a lot will go. We'll watch Christmas Vacation at home, but we'll also go to the movies, and there's going to be some good movies coming out on Christmas this year that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Me and my wife, not for Christmas, but for New Year's, we're going to go see Rogue One.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
New Year's is becoming like our Star Wars tradition.
I don't know. Do you think it'll have enough legs to run that long?
I think so. Yeah.
I think it's going to
make
all the money.
I think we'll have like AT-AT size legs.
It's going to make all the money.
Yeah. It's going to have to wait for my money, sadly, but like I said, it's becoming a tradition, so...
that's
I think that's basically it.
That's my holiday.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Again, Mike. I want everybody who's listening to, of course, like this video, subscribe to us. Put in the comments what you're doing for both Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, New Year's, Festivus, whatever you celebrate. If you don't celebrate anything, tell us what you're doing for the last 2 weeks
how
of December.
Much you hated this episode.
Right. Give us some movies that we may not have mentioned, may not have thought of, and we'll see you next year when we start this again. That we may throw a couple special episodes in between now and then, but in January, of course, our shows start back.
But keep in mind, viewers, because it is a video we do upload, so they're technically watching it as well.
Right, yeah.
Shield comes back pretty soon, so...
Yeah, so you definitely have that. And like I said, we'll try to squeeze some stuff in between, but I don't want to make any promises just because of scheduling-wise and all that, so... And of course, we look forward to seeing Mike again next year for some episodes, because I'm sure we'll have some movie review episodes for him to come back on.
Looking forward to it.
Until then, happy holidays, and we'll see you next time.